Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Denver Broncos first day of free agency, the league year 2016. Haven't been on here in a long while. Busy year 2015, but hope everybody's doing well. And it's time to move on to 2016, and the Broncos did in a big way today. Not necessarily the greatest, but it wasn't a surprise because they had such a good year last year, winning the Super Bowl. And what happens, as I spoke with my dad and another friend of mine, is they basically chop at your roster. Other teams want your players because they think they will win a Super Bowl or these guys get grossly overpaid. Example one, Brock Osweiler today was the backup quarterback who started 7 games this year. He played okay, got a 4-year, $72 million deal with the Houston Texans. The Broncos offered, I think, 3 and 16 million per year with 30 guaranteed, so they weren't cheap. I think he didn't like it there for some reason. I don't know why, but who knows? But let's see how he measured up. And one thing I want to say to you was, people think he played so awesome last year, and he really didn't. Here's a prime example. These are the scores that the Broncos put on the board when he started: 17-30, 17-15, 27 against Pittsburgh when he was atrocious in the second half, 20 and 27 against the Chargers where he got benched. So basically, he averaged 19.8 points per game. He's pretty lucky that he had the best defense in the league, that they won games. So, I mean, I remember they beat the Chargers 17-6 in San Diego. It was an awful game to watch. It was like watching grass grow. And they had good receivers with Demaryius Thomas. Granted, he had some drops. He's still a good receiver. What's his name? Emmanuel Sanders. And running game with Anderson. And also Ronnie Hillman, who I call sideways because when he tries to avoid any tackles, he runs sideways to the sidelines. It's pathetic. C.J. Anderson, remember his first name, who was pretty good. So now, what do the Broncos do from here? My first thought is I heard the rumor that they could trade for Kaepernick, which I'd love. Kaepernick is a quarterback that gets trashed by people. He has a big deal, and this year he got benched for Blaine Gabbert, and Blaine Gabbert's atrocious, really. He should have been benched for him. I know he ended up getting hurt, but Blaine Gabbert's horrible. He was horrible on Jacksonville, he was horrible on San Francisco, and he'll always be horrible. He's got a chicken arm, and he's not smart. I'm not a fan of his. I know that Kaepernick had some decision-making issues. When he played under Jim Harbaugh, he did a wonderful job. He got the team to the Super Bowl the first year he came in for an injured Alex Smith. And he was one play away from winning that Super Bowl, and he played excellent. The next year was fantastic. I think he threw over 20 touchdowns. His lifetime touchdowns and interceptions is probably like 40 something to like 26, 28. I don't remember exactly. I looked at it. I know his quarterback rating is like 88 or 89. Osweiler was 86.5, which is average. And Kaepernick went down because he had a bad year last year. No excuse for him. 88 is slightly above average, but he didn't play with the Broncos' talent either on offense. And I like what they have on offense. And granted, it isn't like it was in 2013 with Manning when he threw a zillion touchdown passes and he had Welker as the third receiver. But they can change that. They still have talent there. And Osweiler's going to the Texans where they have DeAndre Hopkins. They cut Arian Foster, and they have Alfred Blue, who's mediocre. So they have nothing mediocre running back. You have nothing special. So I think the loss of him isn't going to hurt as much as long as the Broncos land somebody. Second choice, IG3. I like him. He sat all year, and he didn't pout at all. As we think that Osweiler getting benched would be why he was so aggravated. And I go back and say, when John Elway was a rookie, he got benched a couple of times. Did he cry about it? No. This guy's about 10% of Elway if he's lucky. Please. Elway could probably throw the ball harder now today than him if he went down and threw it. So Osweiler has a good arm, but he doesn't have a bullet. RG3, chance. He's brittle. He hasn't played in a couple of years. He had an awesome first year, mediocre second year, atrocious third year. And then a couple others, people are saying Mark Fitzpatrick, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Mark Fitzpatrick's a hockey player, sorry. I think he's from around here in Massachusetts as well, too. Fitzpatrick had a good year, and if he had the Broncos defense, he'd do pretty well, I think. And then my one, which nobody in the world's gonna like, but this is my own thought. Why not trade like a third or fourth rounder to the Rams for Nick Foles? I know people say Nick Foles, he sucks. Well, yeah, he did last year, but the couple of years before, Philly was a good year. He had one year through 27 touchdowns and like 2 interceptions. Second year, like 14 and 10, but he was a good player on that team. He's an NFL quarterback. He's built like Osweiler. I mean, that's just me. Obviously, I want Kaepernick at RG3 first, but I'd take him. Why not? Stopgap draft the guy, develop it, and then see what happens. But anyways, this will be interesting to see how it plays off. Part of me is upset that Osweiler left, and a part of me is like, you know what? Maybe get somebody better. I mean, 19.8 points per game is not that great. And that's putting in the 27 against the Chargers. I'm adding that in. He did not put 27 points up. So he probably put up 14 of them, 12 of them, whatever it was. It was terrible. So maybe the numbers aren't as good as you think. Another couple of guys left today for the Broncos that I'm not surprised they left because they wanted to get paid. As some guys say, I want to get paid because I won the Super Bowl. I don't care anymore. Malik Jackson, 6 years, $90 million, I believe. 42 guaranteed. That's nuts. He was a good player, but $90 million? Really? What's he, Von Miller? I mean, Miller will make more than that, but come on. Good player to get grossly overpaid. But it's the NFL. He took it. I don't begrudge him. Good luck to him. Hey, to me, it's a lot of money. And then Danny Trevathan had 4 years, $28 million. Trevathan's an inside linebacker, somebody I really like. I'm disappointed he left, but he wanted to get paid. These guys, I won the Super Bowl, I want to get paid. Okay. Now on to what they could do to replace some of this stuff. Oh, another thing too is there's a rumor out there that C.J. Anderson might be picked up by some other team. People looking for a running back. He's a restricted free agent, and they Broncos put a low tender on him. A low tender means that if it's like a fourth round pick, whoever signs him, say the Patriots sign him, they have to give a fourth round pick to the Denver Broncos next year. So we'll see how that plays out. I think they can replace a running back. It's not like replacing a quarterback, a defensive lineman. The replacement possibly for Blake Jackson, maybe pot roast. Terrence Knighton comes back. I'd take that. He's a free agent. Why not? He did the job before. He's not as good as Blake Jackson, but he's a good fill. For inside linebacker, it's kind of tough. I mean, I don't know. I looked up a couple names. I thought of Derek Freeman of the Colts or Steven Tulloch of Detroit, just an inside linebacker or Phil. They'll draft somebody. They'll probably have somebody else that they know. They still have Brandon Marshall there, which is good player. He's another one that got tendered, but a higher pick. I hope they don't lose him because you can't keep losing all these guys. The back end is excellent with Harris, Talib, C.J. Ward, and Darian Stewart, who had a really good Super Bowl and championship game. And then Bradley Roby as the extra cornerback was excellent. Now, a couple running backs that I'd like if they're going to lose CJ or have to replace Hillman sideways. Mr. Sideways, I run to the middle of the stands before I try to get back because I'm afraid to get tackled. Aggravating guy to watch. He's terrible. Watch some of the tape on him. He's atrocious. I think he's a bum, honestly, personally. But how about Alfred Morris of the Redskins, who played in the system with Shanahan? It's a Kubiak type system. Or Bilal Powell of the New York Jets as like a third down back, which is fine because Hillman's that third down back. I like those two guys. I know another one people want to say is, I can't remember his name right now. The running back for the Texans. Drawing a blank. I'm sorry. On video, draw a blank. It's kind of sad. I'm just going. He's a good player. Anyways, I don't remember him. I don't remember if they shut that off. He only played in 4 games last year, and he was a good place to play. Here we go. Arian Foster, okay? See, I remembered it a minute later. Who's a good player if he's healthy. If. But that's a possibility because he knows Kubiak. He played under him for 5 years. And the last one is as a third receiver. I know he was bad with the Colts last year. Andre Johnson. I'd take him. He could be a stopgap to help because they don't really have a third receiver. Most of the guys are free agents. I think they have that guy Fowler who had a nice punt return in the Super Bowl. So I'm okay with that. And then the last one is for a tight end because they cut Owen Daniels the other day. I like Owen Daniels a lot. He seems like a class act, and he did a great job in the big games this year. It's Ladarius Green from San Diego. He's just built like a tight end. He's 6'6", like 250. He runs. He reminds me of Julius Thomas, who was in Denver for a few years, who was very good. We'll see. Those are just my thoughts. There's other big deals that have happened across the league today that you're like, wow. The Giants did a good job getting their team back on track, and Tom Coughlin's probably not doesn't enjoy it, but the names escape me. I'm sorry. I know the Giants did well today. I know Denver's been focusing on it. And I know some of the other teams, some of the other moves, but this is the biggest day of the year. There's like a million guys that trade places. And Elway said one other thing too. He wants to stick to his philosophy of not overpaying. That sounds like somebody who's right here in Foxborough who doesn't overpay. And guess what? They've been to 10 AFC Championship games and they won 4 Super Bowls and made it to 6. I have a feeling the Patriots know what they're talking about. Whether people don't like them or not, I have a lot of respect for what they've done. They've done a wonderful job, and Elway's bracing in the same mold, I think, for some of this. He's done a great job as well. Alrighty, well, thank you for watching my video. I greatly appreciate it. Sorry about getting stumped on the Giants free agents. If you want to look at go on NFL.com. My main focus is the Broncos. You have a good night. Take care now.